Welcome back. This is the Manifest Your Wellbeing Series, where we talk about mental attitude, nutrition, and exercise. I'm Leandro, your wellbeing and nutrition coach, and this is the episode number 6, where we will talk about body posture and well-being. In the last video, we spoke about the importance of breathing for your health, and in this episode, we are going to explore how body posture can affect your well-being. When people face success or failure, they tend to respond by changing body posture to reflect the experience. In this episode, I want to make an argument about the benefits of maintaining a straight body posture. If you want just the short version, I can tell you now. Maintaining a straight body posture is beneficial to your mental and physical well-being. Therefore, you will benefit from paying attention to your posture all the time. This is the message you have to take home today. If you want to know why, watch this whole episode where I'm going to explore some theories about emotion as well as mentioning scientific research done on the subject of posture. Body posture is the way a person's spine is shaped and the head is positioned when they are sitting or standing. It is part of one body's language. Here we are concentrating on posture only. An upright posture is one with spine straight and head forward, with a relaxed shoulders. A stoop posture is one with curved spine and head down. Body posture can be the physiological effect of emotional states after the person experiences a positive or negative stimuli. When facing triumph, it's natural for most people to adopt an upright posture. The body expands in size and height. In contrast, when facing defeat, most people's body tends to shrink in size, adopting a stoop posture with a curved spine and head low. There are different functions that posture can have. It can be a messaging tool, a guiding mechanism, a way of communicating someone's hierarchical position, as well as an expression of emotion or thoughts. Now let's describe each individual function. Functions of body posture. As a messaging tool. When a person is trying to achieve a goal, their posture can send a message to other people observing the action, telling that the task the person is performing is either frustrating or rewarding. It helps other people to evaluate the complexity of the task, making it more or less attractive. If a task is rewarding, it can motivate other people to engage in it. Otherwise, people wouldn't engage in it at all, or be very reluctant to engaging in a task that is complex and frustrating. As a guiding mechanism, posture stimulates the person engaged in a task to withdraw from a negative situation, avoiding more frustration or motivating the individual to engage with a pleasant and rewarding stimulus. In the case of failure, a stoop posture guides the person to accept defeat, to accept the lower than expected outcomes, or to distance the self from a previous strategy, paving the way for a new action plan. An experiment conducted by John Riskind showed that subjects adopting postures conflicting with task outcome would experience a greater sense of helplessness, lower motivation to persist, and have higher depression scores than subjects in a posture consistent with the outcome. According to this experiment, and contrary to what most people would expect, adopting a slumped posture after failure is beneficial as it helps the individual to process the information and to recover from defeat. When enjoying success, people would do worse if adopting a slumped posture, and people would do better after failure if they adopt the slumped posture. People would benefit more when matching posture with outcome. From this perspective, a stoop posture would be protective in the case of failure by helping the individual to cope with negative emotions and withdraw physical and cognitive investment from a fruitless goal or task. A great example is the film Thor, when Thor tries to lift his hammer without success and his body shows how defeated he feels. It's the moment where a transformation begins. He has to abandon old behaviors to adopt new ones to be able to achieve his goal. As a way of establishing hierarchy. In the case of interaction between two people, let's say having a disagreement, body posture can send a message of dominance or submission. It can be one of the elements that would help to establish the dominance hierarchy between the two individuals. Imagine that two people arguing with their chests out, and at a point in the discussion, one of them adopts a stoop posture. It would send a message that everyone would understand. As an expression of emotion and cognition. A person feeling good is more likely to adopt an upright posture rather than a stoop one. A stoop posture is more associated with sadness, whereas positive emotions are expressed by the body with an expansive posture. Posture can respond to a positive or negative thought. Imagine someone walking the street that has a very negative memory or a self-defeating thought. Their body could express their memory emotional charge by adopting a stoop posture. Body posture is part of a series of mechanisms that guide you towards rewarding activities and away from those activities that are penalizing in any shape or form. It is also part of your body language that communicates your thoughts, feelings, or intentions to other people by influencing or guiding the way other people act. Body posture as expression of emotion. Let's think about how emotion mediates body posture. And of course, it also mediates facial expression, body language, vocal tonality, hormonal secretion, as well as heart and respiratory rate. Emotions can emanate from an internal or external stimulus. By internally means a thought or memory, and by externally, it can be an information or via interaction with a person or object. One way to understand how emotions flow is to understand the flow from the stimulus to a physiological response. Is in a linear fashion where firstly there is the stimulus, then the cognition giving it meaning, and an associated emotion emanates, provoking characteristics alterations in the body, affecting body posture, along with many other organic functions. I'm going to give you another view. There is the stimulus, and then the body responds before the emotion arises in relation to the experience. The physiological expression comes before the emotion because the emotion depends on the interpretation of both how the body is responding and what cognition is associated with the experience. For instance, if a situation is perceived as a source of anger, the body will follow with the organic alterations characteristics to anger, like stress hormones secreted and increased heartbeat. Finally, the feeling of these changes is the anger emotion itself. It's like an interpretation of the situation and physiological response where the emotion matches what is being experienced. According to Schachter and Singer in their 1962 paper, physiological arousal, such as increasing heartbeat or breathing rate, they alone are not enough to trigger an emotion response. For an emotion to take place, it is necessary to have a context, a cognition associated with the physiological arousal to give it meaning. Emotional states are a function of the interaction between what is going on someone's mind and the way the body is responding. An increasing heart rate or body temperature by themselves are not specific. Depending on the context, the same physiological arousal could be labeled as joy, anger, or sadness, for instance. In the previous examples, thought and emotion are understood as two separated entities. You have, for one side, thought or cognition, where you interpret what is going on, and then there is the emotion that arises in relation not only to what happens, but also to how you are interpreting it. According to a modern view, both cognition and emotion are distinct in function but not in nature. According to work done by Duncan and Barrett in 2007, there is not clear-cut separation between cognition and emotion. Our body can adopt a straight or stoop posture as an expression of emotion. A positive or negative emotion is experienced affecting posture in one way or the other. A positive emotion is associated with a straight posture, and a negative one associated with a stoop posture. On the other hand, by adopting a stoop posture, you can negatively affect the way you feel. That's why it is important to maintain a good, straight posture. I'm going to mention two papers looking into facial expressions and physical posture. In 1990, Leverson, Ekman, and Friesen conducted a study to discover what effect voluntary facial expressions have on autonomic activity and how this might be mediated. One question asked in this study was the one we are interested in this episode. It was if people producing an emotional facial expression would also report feeling the associated emotion. I quote, "The researchers found that a significant number of people reported feeling the emotion associated with the facial expression they produced." Unquote. If they make an angry face, they reported feeling angry, or if they made a sad face, they reported feeling sad. This finding may be relevant to us because we may be able to extrapolate these results to body posture as they are all part of our body language. Let's look at this study. In this study, subjects received muscle-to-muscle instructions to mimic expressions associated with anger, disgust, fear, happiness, sadness, and surprise. During the task, their body activity was monitored to understand how it was affecting the autonomic nervous system activity. They monitored heart rate, skin conductance, and finger temperature. After the experiment, the subjects were asked how they felt while doing the task. A significant number of subjects reported experiencing the emotion associated with the facial expression they were producing. Also, their heart rate increased the most for the emotions of anger, sadness, and fear. And negative emotions showed greater autonomic activity than positive ones. With this study, we learned that if people produce a facial expression of sadness, even if they are not sad, the body can respond as if they were. These results are in line with a study done in 1974 by James Laird, where they found that expressive behavior can lead to subjectively experiencing an emotion. In this study, the researchers recruited 51 subjects and assigned them to a slumped or an upright posture. The subjects were then asked to do a frustrating task while holding the posture. The researchers wanted to discover if body posture has a regulatory or feedback role affecting motivation or emotion. The results indicated that subjects holding a slumped posture developed helplessness sooner than did subjects who had been placed in a straight posture. A stoop posture negatively affects capacity to persist when completing a learned helplessness task. Physical posture is one of several elements that can affect emotion and behavior. Helplessness is the belief that a situation is outside our control, and learned helplessness is when an individual is in a stressful situation and stops trying to change it, becoming passive to the source of stress. Part of the experiment was to give subjects 4 puzzles, where 2 of which were unsolvable, to see how long subjects could persist in the task and to measure their self-reported levels of self-confidence, fatigue, cheerfulness, and competence. This way, researchers could measure the level of persistency where the main variable that they tested was body posture. Then they could see the difference between the subjects adopting a stoop or a straight posture. The subjects placed in a stooped posture are less persistent than subjects placed in a straight posture. Holding an upright posture when engaging in a complex, challenging task can help you to be more persistent in order to achieve your goal. Body posture and mood. So far we have seen that posture can have a self-regulating effect as well as being like a feedback loop mechanism, helping individuals to explore positive experiences and withdraw from negative ones. As part of our body language, posture can communicate others our feelings, thoughts, and intentions. Posture can also affect our emotional states, as there is a two-way influence between emotion and posture. They influence each other. It is worthy of mentioning that facial and other bodily expressions work together with posture, that emotion affects all these elements, and in turn, bodily expressions can also influence emotion, positively or negatively. The well-being benefits of paying attention to our body posture are many, not only as emotional regulation, but also in self-confidence and physical health. There is research on posture and leadership showing that posing high-power posture has positive effects on hormones such as testosterone, and for physical health benefit and postural stability, maintaining an upright body posture has positive effects on spine health. To finish this episode, I want to talk about what role posture plays in recovering from a negative mood using a 2016 article written by Venstra et al. In this study, Venstra tested the effects of posture regulating negative mood. With the understanding that negative mood can be a consequence and not only the cause of people adopting a stoop position, the experiments explored how stoop body posture influences the recovery from a bad mood. 229 subjects participated in this study. They were divided in 3 groups adopting different postures: stoop, straight, or control. 116 participants were inducted into a negative mood condition, where they were asked to imagine that their best friend had passed away. The remaining participants received a neutral mood induction. The researchers found that subjects assigned to the Stoop posture group would experience more bad mood after receiving the negative mood induction, and the same group would have it harder to recover from the negative mood. Posture also influenced the type of thoughts they had. Participants in a Stoop sitting posture had a larger proportion of negative thoughts regardless of mood condition. Their research confirms that posture affects both mood regulation, regeneration, and also influences mood recovery. This is the end of this episode. For the next one, I'm going to talk about the importance of believing in our potential. To do so, I will talk about self-efficacy. Make sure you support this channel by clicking on liking, subscribing, and sharing this content. Thank you very much, and see you soon.